I'm Kate, that's Jamie, and this is Two Dumb Bees.
Join us as we navigate the realms of the supernatural and unravel the quirks of pop culture.
Come scroll with us. Hello, Dumby besties. Welcome back.
And I'm mad at this lady. She needs to go to jail.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what happens to her. And I've been avoiding spoilers. Although it's been really hard to avoid all the fun TikToks of them making fun of Tanya. They're all really good.
They are. And the one you sent me of that guy that does Gypsy Rose, he is hilarious.
The eye work. It's insane. 100 out of 10. They open up episode 2 with Tanya in a pedicure chair and all that crazy stuff on her lips. Like, it looks like she
I cannot even
dunked
look at
her.
her.
No, it's terrible. She looks like she dunked her mouth like in the wax burner or something.
It's awful.
It's number because she's getting her lips filled.
And then them actually showing the injections was like so cringe for me. I hate that.
I did not like that either, and I didn't know you had to like squeeze it and like
Oh my
shape it up in
God.
there. Yucky.
Like, no, dude, no.
And the whole time they're like filming her, she's sitting in the chair, and then they take her back and she's getting her lips filled in. Her phone is ringing the whole time. After that opening scene, they cut to Tanya saying to the camera that she couldn't possibly be hiding a chimp, let alone a famous chimp. Like talking up Tonka, which he is. He's a famous chimp, but
He was in George of the Jungle.
Pete, one of the representatives for PETA says, or counsel for PETA says, I don't know what happened to Tonka, but whatever Tanya says is a lie. And then they cut to Tanya saying, Tonka has passed away. What happened was he had an event, assuming it was a stroke. So she doesn't even know what the event was. You can't
He just happened to have a stroke right before they confiscated all the chimps.
This whole time she's been trying to make it out like Tonka's a sick chimp. She's defending herself, saying vet records showed supposedly he had an enlarged heart and was in congestive heart failure. Allegedly. So after they go through accusing Tanya essentially for stealing Tonka, and they're kind of just going back and forth, they show that Tanya moves out of Festus to central Missouri on a lake, and she's talking about this private petting zoo that she's going to open at this giant house, which she's already started, and they're filming there. So they have the camels and some smaller monkeys, I think, like some of the capuchins. They had a camel and a couple. She has capuchins, and then there was other animals there. But she says no endangered stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're showing the property, they're showing the animals, they're showing like it's a pretty big nice house with a big pool and a lot of land. It's on a lake.
It did look like better conditions than what the chimps were in, I will say, because I did not like their little prison that they were in.
Dwayne, the proxy director, he asks the question that I was thinking, which is, how did you pay for all this? And she says, I do brokerage for exotic animals. I'm the middleman. I can find any animal you're looking for. That's insane to me. She has no remorse for any of this. She's just going to keep doing it and letting other people do it. After all this pain and heartache, she's going to
As
help
far as
these.
I'm concerned, she should not have any animals.
No. She doesn't care for their well being. She only cares for how she feels about having that animal. She doesn't care for the animal itself.
No, and she does not have its best interest in mind.
And she says that she has zoo contacts, and that's how they generate a lot of the money, like at zoos, is by selling the babies. I hope that's a lie. I hope she's full of crap with that, but I doubt it. That's crazy. So she makes about $350,000 in a year brokering monkeys and other exotic animals.
I don't like that.
That's so much money. So they cut to the real director, Eric, and Alan coming. He asks Alan if he feels like a hypocrite. Alan says, well, it's true. This was also 40 years ago, and now I know it's not in the animal's best interest. It's not a child. It's not a human. It's a wild animal. And then they start talking about Travis.
And I'm sad for Travis. Um Travis and Sandy Harold. Sandy got Travis from a woman in Missouri named Connie Casey for $40,000. Okay.
Ooh.
Connie was in the business of selling chimps as pets. She ran a little party chimp business where she would take her little chimps around and do parties. Very exploitive of the chimps. But as everyone would say, Travis really did become a part of Sandy's and her husband Jerry's family. They were just like Tanya, they thought of them or thought of him as their children, their child.
Such a weird sentiment all these women seem to have. I mean, this did, I guess, include a quote unquote father, but this connection that they feel with these monkeys is creepy.
Right. They told people they were like mom and dad.
Yeah.
And even like their friends say like, "Oh, he was the cutest baby." And like, he wasn't a baby. He was a baby chimpanzee, and I'm sure he was. I don't think they're cute. I'm sorry.
I have a hard time with it myself.
Um anyway, he became part of the family. He was potty trained. He could use the microwave and heat up his own snacks. They taught him how to drive their car. He knew the difference between the gas pedal and the brake pedal and how to steer it. I don't, they weren't like letting him drive through town or nothing, just around the around the driveway and whatnot. But
Couldn't imagine trying to teach a chimp how to drive. That's
apparently he loved a car ride, which makes me feel like, well, we'll talk about later down the road. Anyway, I'll bring this back up. But he loved car rides. They took him everywhere. He was famous. He did commercials. He was the mascot for their towing company. Everybody loved Travis. The police loved Travis. Okay. He was very friendly. Um, yeah, right up till he wasn't.
right. Exactly.
Um, it wasn't until he was like 6 or 7 years old when Sandy started realizing that he was kind of a handful. He was getting to be a bit much. But she was also kind of in denial, like, because no, this is my son and I'm going to make it work.
Right.
Like she had his best interest in mind. I mean, he was cared for way better than any of Tanya's chimpanzees. They get to that age where they're not cute and cuddly anymore.
No, and then they weigh 200 pounds and are 3 times stronger than you and can rip your arm off your body. Let's
Yeah,
not forget that.
right. But she said that was her son and she was determined to make it work. And then there was the incident where he had escaped their vehicle and he was kind of running around the streets. They said he was like running up to people and smacking them on the butt, which
Oops.
I think is kind of funny. But
I'm
then
sure
there
he meant it to
was
be funny.
right. And then they made it the media made it out to be aggressive, like he was, because he was trying to like get into people's cars. But knowing now that I've watched this, knowing now that they like taught this dude how to drive and he loved car rides, I don't necessarily think that he was maliciously trying to get into cars at this point. He just seemed like he was running around having a good time. The final lure ended up being ice cream. Sandy said that he would want ice cream, and he did give in. So they went to they went and got ice cream. Um, After that, the laws changed so that anyone who had a primate over 50 pounds had to have a permit to have the animal, but it was like loosely enforced from my understanding. It wasn't something they were checking on, following up on, or anything like that. But the mayor of the town had told Sandy and Jerry that there would be serious consequences if they let something like that happen again. He's like, your chimp can't just be escaping and running rampant through town. So he went to like famous and socialized and being drug around all over town to unseen, unheard from, confined to the house. And I can't imagine what that was like for him after having done commercials and parties and I don't
Yeah,
know. It would be
that's what
depressing.
it's very similar to all the other stories. Once they're too hard to handle, they're locked away, which makes them even harder to handle.
Um Travis's saving grace was kind of Jerry. That was kind of his rock in the house. Jerry was always there for him. But roughly a year after the incident where Travis escaped, Jerry ended up having to go into the hospital where he was diagnosed with stomach cancer and he never came home. And so, on top of now, Travis is confined to the house. Now, his quote unquote dad is gone. And he doesn't know why.
It's so sad.
I know. I'm like, don't cry. Obviously, Travis and Sandy were both heartbroken. Sandy became a little bit somewhat of a hoarder. They walked through her house and they said that she took comfort in buying things for her and Travis. And it was a bit cluttered.
Yeah. They had pathways.
Friends of Sandy's that would go check on them said that, you know, they would go try to talk to Travis and he would just be so depressed. He would sit in his cage and just rock back and forth all day long. And he just didn't have a lot of pizzazz to him anymore.
Poor guy.
So, the faithful day. Sandy was trying to leave to go meet up with a different friend, and Travis wasn't having it and took her keys and like somehow got out of the house. So he's out of the house with her car keys. She can't leave. And this is where her friend Charla Nash comes into the picture. Charla sometimes babysat Travis and was a good friend of the family. So it's not like she was a stranger to Travis or anything. He knew her very, very well. And she was coming to help Sandy get Travis back in the house. She was bringing him a stuffed Elmo because she knew that he really loved Elmo. And she thought that, oh, that'll be perfect. I'll bring him an Elmo. He'll see it. He'll be so excited. We'll go back in the house. Easy peasy.
Right.
And unfortunately, it does not go that way. Did we do a trigger warning?
No, but we can now. Big trigger warning.
Someday we're going to be better about our trigger warnings.
Don't listen. It's all a trigger warning if you can't handle it. Sorry.
Okay, but yeah, so Travis, she gets out of the car with the Elmo, and Travis proceeds to brutally attack the shit out of her. And there is a phone call because obviously Sandy had to call 911, and she is frantic. She is just screaming that he ripped off her face. And, you know, the operator's like, who ripped off her face? And she's like, my chimpanzee. And she's obviously freaking out. And they send a police officer, and this police officer was familiar with Travis because, you know, everybody in the town knows Travis. And he pulled in and he sees Sandy with a kitchen knife trying to stab Travis and make him stop attacking Charla because he's just absolutely tearing Charla up. And um when he sees the police car pull in, he goes over to the police car, and the officer said at first he just like kind of had his hands on top of the car and he was shaking it up and down. He described it as the car in Jurassic Park when the T-Rex is like stepping on it and it's just, or the
That's
T-Rex
so
is coming and
scary.
it's just shaking. Um and he said that Travis just ripped the door off of the car, just pulled the door clean right off the car. And he, in his mind, but right before his door got ripped off, he had his gun out and he was telling himself that this was a last resort. You know, he didn't want to hurt Travis. And then Travis ripped his door off. And so,
I would have never thought that that is possible.
right. But yeah, I can't blame him. Cause what do you do when this chimpanzee is coming at you after you ripped your door off? But he does say, and I don't know, I thought it was kind of corny, but he said that, you know, right as Travis ripped the door off, that there was a moment that they shared where, like, you know, Travis couldn't talk, but like Travis said to him, "Do it." And he shot him. He shot him. Um,
Okay.
I think that's a weird thing to say,
I kind
I
of do too,
guess.
but I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't there. But anyway, that did not immediately kill Travis. He was able to make it back into his cage where he did pass away.
Very tragic.
And it all could have been avoided if people weren't allowed to sell chimpanzees because they're dangerous. Not that he wasn't loved, not that they didn't pamper him and take care of him, but that's not really what he needs because he's not a little boy. He's a little monkey. And let's not forget Carla because she lost her eyes, nose, and jaw in this ordeal. And they were able to, you know, like put her back together, but it wasn't something they were able to, you know, she'll never look the same again. I feel
So
like.
after they go through this tragic story about Travis and yet again show the dangers of having chimpanzees, cut back to Timu Wig Tanya doing more of her batshit crazy stuff. Like keeping Travis in the basement, feeding him chicken nuggets, and showing him Instagram reels while showing it on camera. Bitch, what are you doing? She's like talking about the animal crackers. Oh my god, she's so nuts. She's talking about the animal crackers box. And she shows it to the camera. She's like, "Do you see this? You see this here? They don't have bars on there anymore because of PETA. Stuff like this that they do. They're radical."
I
It's
don't
like,
eat these anymore because they're not allowed to have the bars on the box.
you're ridiculous. Of all of the things, it's kind of okay. So they kind of get into the whole cremation, quote unquote, the alleged cremation of Tonka. They're claiming that they burnt Tonka in a fire pit at 160 to 170 degrees, and that he was reduced to ashes. And the person who wrote the letter to the judge was Jerry Oswego, who later we find out is Tanya's husband. So, not very credible, I wouldn't think.
Right.
They say, so you have Tonka's ashes? Oh, yeah. She pulls him out. And Alex, my husband, was watching this with me. And he said, that bag of Ovaltine doesn't look like ashes.
Oh my god.
I thought that was funny. But it does. It
I mean,
looks
can
like
they
cake
like
mix.
I guess there's probably not any way to like test ashes to see.
I don't think so either because that's the exact same thing that he asked me to. And I'm like, I mean, it's just like burnt up carbon, you know?
But I mean, you could
But you
still
could
test it and
test
see
to,
if it wasn't
eh,
ashes.
yeah, definitely. Definitely. And so, in the middle of her showing them the ashes and stuff, she leaves the interview set up to talk to Connie on the phone, and her and Connie are talking, and Connie's telling her to lay as low as you can as she's like in the middle of an interview for this documentary. She's like, "Yeah, of course, sure." Now, this is kind of stupid to me. I don't understand. PETA says that they sent people everywhere to look for the chimp and were searching zoos and other places, blah, blah, blah. And they never found him. He's in her basement. Why are you not searching her house? What do you mean?
Right.
I didn't understand how
Where
it
is
just
the
seemed
search
silly
warrant?
because essentially they had the judge was like, "You need to show me real proof, and I need to know that he's even alive or where he is before we can do anything. I can't do anything without him, you know? Got to prove something."
Right.
Then they get a tip from a psychic, which you think is going to be a cool psychic tip, but it's not. She's like Tanya's psychic, and she texted her and said that she had to get Tonka groceries. Like, you're stupid. So they got her on that. And she's in Zoom court because this is like a new development. They got to talk about this thing, in Zoom court.
Right.
And she immediately is like, "Oh no, I have a new capuchin monkey that I named Tonka in memory." And it just seemed like such a fucking lie. It was not genuine. And then she just starts like bawling her eyes out, fake bawling her eyes out. They're like, "I guess we're gonna take a break," because she's like being hysterical.
She's not believable for me
Me
anyway.
either. No, I don't think so either. But I don't know like what kind of bias or whatever against people's personalities specifically you can have in a court of law. You know what I'm saying? It is what it
Right.
is.
Whatever. I think she's full of beans anyway.
Yeah, and they show like they took some bones over to a crematorium and cremated them, and they showed them like right after being like burned. They don't just come out ashes, which I actually didn't know. Did you? Until you saw, I didn't know that they like crush the bones or whatever's left.
Yeah, no, I thought it all burned up. I thought it
Yeah,
got hot
which
enough to burn everything, I guess.
Yeah, me too. But I guess it does make sense that no, you don't just poof and all separate and turn into little individual tiny ashes once I saw this.
Right.
Learn something new every day.
But that's how it worked in my mind before.
100% me too. So the judge rules that she can't really be charged with anything because the trial was for contempt due to the fact that they can't prove that he's alive. So until they can come back with something, she's free. And she says
Bless you.
right at the end, yeah, but we're just going to keep him hidden. Like as soon as she hangs up. Well, as soon as she hangs up, she like scarfs down that freaking Coke, that can of Coke, like a psycho. That was so weird. The way she like, I don't know.
It was
And
unnecessary.
it was very strange. And then she jumped up and hugged her husband. She's like, we'll just keep him hidden. And then shows where he is in the basement.
Which, girl, what are your brain cells doing? You are literally going to court and telling this judge that you cremated this chimpanzee, and you're saying on this documentary that's literally on HBO Max, like everyone that I know has HBO Max. Girl, and you're going to tell the world that you're hiding Tonka?
She's like, she was yelling, we won, we won, we won.
Well,
Like,
enjoy your 5 minutes.
exactly. It's not going to last long.
No, and they're gonna charge her for
Even
I don't know
worse.
what, but yeah.
Yeah, well, she's in violation of the Endangered Species Act. And then plenty of other things, I'm sure. And lying to the court, like, it's too much.
Mm.
And I don't know that she was being criminally charged originally. I think it was more of a civil thing in them removing the chimps. I don't think she was actually being criminally charged for anything. Now she will be
Right.
because this is now criminal.
Right. Essentially, she kidnapped him. Monkey napped.
Yeah. Very interested to see how this all tumbles out because even at the beginning, just in the first episode, I'm like, how much more could there be? There's so
I
much.
don't know, but there's 2 more episodes because I saw that episode 4 is on.
Yep. I can't believe there's this much stuff going on with all this.
Well, I wonder if it's gonna get deeper, just some speculation. I wonder if they're gonna make her get rid of like all of her animals.
I hope so.
Me too.
She clearly has some kind of problem. She shouldn't have animals.
But no one, in my opinion, should have exotic animals, just to be perfectly clear.
I agree. There's no need for it. Are we doing a fun fact? Or
Yeah,
do we?
I found out today that praying mantises eat hummingbirds. That's right, they can eat hummingbirds. Big praying mantises snatch hummingbird right off the feeder. I was flabbergasted. I had no idea. I know you already knew because of your podcast, but I had no idea. And the way my jaw dropped when I saw that picture of that praying mantis holding on to that hummingbird.
I'm surprised that they're that fast and are able to do it.
Mm. I picked those up In fact, I just moved a baby one out of the way of getting smushed by my automatic door the other day.
That's good because it's hard for them sometimes to find good habitats to where they can multiply. You should listen to the podcast I sent you. They're
Well, I
very
hope I put him
interesting.
in a good spot. I put him in a good grassy area.
They say you have a pretty balanced ecosystem if you have praying mantises.
Ooh, and we have stick bugs. I found a stick bug the other day.
I love stick bugs. They're so cute.
Second fun fact. Stick bugs can, in case of emergency, purposefully detach their joints so that their whole leg comes off and they can regrow that leg later. Like, so if a bird snatches them up, they can just be like, see ya.
That's awesome. I kind of wish I could do that. Just detach a limb and get out of something. I could use it for like a
Right.
sick day.
Oh my god, my leg.
I lost
It's
my
on
whole
the
leg. I'm
ground.
sorry.
I gotta leave.
There's no way it wouldn't work.
I think that would raise some major questions in the office.
I mean, they're not doctors. They don't know how they got it reattached. It'd be fine.
It just grows back like SpongeBob. Just pop a new one out.
Yeah, it's like unlimited sick days. Like I have a condition, guys. What do you want me to do?
Well, technically, I think the stick bugs like have to molt to grow the new leg. Can you molt?
I could learn to. I'm up for a challenge. I'll do anything for more PTO. This is corporate
bet.
America.
That would probably even warrant like FMLA.
Now we're talking. I'm just kidding. Kind of.
Kind of. Like, comment, subscribe if you like our video, if you like what we're talking about.
I guess we will say goodbye.
Okay, bye.